was so proud of myself, I did not say a cuss word. I have no idea. This is my brand new MacBook Air, and photo booth decided to freeze the video, but not the volume. So back to where part 1 left off. I hope that does not happen often. So we were doing handout 4. The empirical mean is 100, 16th percentile is 80. So you drop a line in the middle, and that's your 100, right? You drop 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and think about, have it memorized. This is all percent that I'm about to say. 0.15, 2.35, 13.5, 34, 34, 13.5, 2.35, 0.15%, right? Now you're going to do the info I give you. The 16th percentile is, well, let me move my mouse. 16th percentile is 80. Okay, here is the 16th percentile, that's 80. One jump or one standard deviation is this distance of 20. This one's kind of obvious. You can see you're counting by 20. Okay. So that's that thing you're going to describe to me. Then you're going to answer the questions. What percent of scores are no more than? So no more than means less than. So if I'm here, it wants to know how much all of that is. You're welcome to add all of that up, right? Honestly, on this one, I'm probably going to think, wait, there's 2.5% bigger. So that means there's 97.5% smaller. Make sure you use the percent sign. Part B, we're working with some synonyms. We had talked about synonym bubbles on that lecture. The 84th percentile, or find the line that has 84% below it. Well, that line has 50% below it. So this guy has 84% below it. That's the definition of percentile. So the answer is 120. I want to go to D next. 97.5% of scores are at least what? If I had to pick the one question that stumps students on test 1 and test 2 and the final exam, it's this right here. Remember, this is using the word at least, which means go bigger. But I gave you the percent, so I need to know which one of these lines has 97.5% bigger than it. Guys, the answer cannot be up here. There is no way that's 97.5 bigger. There's no way. That's like 2.5. That's like 16. It's got to be down here somewhere. I need 97.5 going larger to the right, which means 2.5 going lower to the left. Answer 60. Kind of splitting up the empirical stuff versus where I stick z-scores in the middle of an empirical problem. So on part C, all I ask for is the z-score at 90. Now let's talk about that. You should already have an estimate as to what it could be, but see, 90 is falling right here. Now I know this is a z-score of 0. This is a z-score of -1, right? So I know 90 has to be between 0 and -1, but that's not a good enough answer. I want it precise. Observation minus mean over standard deviation. Remember, standard deviation is how much each jump is worth. So yeah, -1/2 or -0.5. Now, remember, I cannot ask you what percent made below a 90 because the only areas I can ask you are the ones that fall on the boundaries. Now, part E is just using the same z-score formula. You just had to know that that's what I'm talking about. When I tell you a score is 3.2 standard deviations below the mean, this is what I just told you. Let's talk about that for a second. If you know a z-score is negative 3.2, the negative says you're below the mean. And z is how many standard deviations away from the mean a data point is. That's the definition of a z-score. That's why I say you need to know all definitions. So that sentence on part E just told you that, right? Before we solve it, again, let's get our estimate. This is a z-score of negative 1. This is a z-score of negative 2. This is a z-score of negative 3. So we got to be over here somewhere. Part E, the answer has to be over there somewhere. This answer has to be less than 40, in case you do some silly math on your calculator. Z equals, I don't know what the observation is. I know the mean, and I know the standard deviation. Once you solve for x, you have to use your algebra. This is not a fraction sign. This was just me underlining negative 3.2. If you solve that, you will get 36, which makes sense. I knew I had to have an answer less than 40. I want to put up 2 more pieces to this problem. And then I'm probably going to make you practice one more. Okay, so part F says 16% of scores are at least what? Part G says 84% of scores are at most what? So I really would like you to pause the video right now, answer those 2 questions, then unpause it. All right. Get rid of these from earlier. So the word at least, I'm telling you 16% is bigger than which line? I got to figure out which one of these lines has 16% bigger. Some students like to start to kind of color in this way. And if you do that, 0.15 plus 2.35, that's 2.5, plus another 13.5. This line right here has 16% going bigger because that's the bigger direction to the right. Okay, so it looks like the answer is 120. 84% of scores are at most. At most means less than or percentile. Remember those synonym bubbles. If you don't like the word at most, you could read in your head less than. Got to find the line that has 84% less than it. Well, that has 50% less. Less is to the left. Oh, okay. That has 84% less. Oh, how interesting. 120. Please make sure you really truly understand this is not coincidence. I designed this on purpose. They had to be the same answer because think about it. At least means go bigger. At most means go smaller, right? 16% and 84% equal 100%. One line has 16% greater than it and 84% lower than it. Yes, because that's the whole 100%. These had to be the same answer. So really make sure that you understand that this was not coincidence. F and G were designed that they absolutely, from concept, had to be the same answer. I'm going to give you one more empirical. It's not anything on a handout. I'll put it up here. You pause the video, give it a try, then come back. I know I did not load notes, but I think you'll be able to see this clearly enough. So not much context. I'm just trying to give you the meat of a problem. The mean is 200. The 99.85th percentile is 245. So pause the video, do your whole setup, then come back. All right, let's see if you got it right, this part. Then we'll ask some questions. Drop our line in the middle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm filling in my percents. Now, the 99.85th percentile is 245. This line right here, that plus 3s, that guy is 245. That line, not the space in between. So I'm like, I've got 1, 2, 3. 3 jumps, but remember we said a jump is a very informal word for standard deviation. So 1, 2, 3 standard deviations is a distance. Well, 245 minus 200 is 45. So what does 1 standard deviation equal? 15. So I now know I'm counting by 15. So this must be 215, 230, 245. Now I got to go down 15. 185, 170, 155. Again, I'm labeling the fences, not the space in between. All right, I'm just going to ask 3 questions on this one. So let me write up the questions. Then you can pause it, answer them, then come back. Maybe I'll write the questions over here. Let's see. I'll get my arm out of the way in a minute. Okay, so the 3 questions I want you to practice now. 99.85% are at least what? Part B, what is the 0.15th percentile? Part C, what's the z-score for 160? Pause the video, do those, then come back. All right, let's see if you got them right. So part A, 99.85% are at least. I have to find the boundary that has 99.85 going bigger. That's an awful lot. It's probably easier to think about 0.15% goes less, right? 99.85% goes bigger is the same thing as 0.15% goes less. Okay, I can immediately see that the answer is 155. Yes, all of this is 99.85, and that's what it asked for. Now, part B, I asked for the 0.15th percentile. That is the boundary that has 0.15% going less. Oh, yes, okay, same answer. Has to be the same answer. Because if you were okay with that I had reworded A like this, that is the definition of percentile, right? Percentile is how much is going less. So yes, the exact same answer for A and B has to be. That is not coincidence. And then z-score for 160. Let's just get an estimate so we know if we make a mistake on our calculator. 160 is somewhere in there. So that's a z-score of 0, -1, -2, -3. I know it has to be between -2 and -3. All right, z-score equals observation minus mean over standard deviation. So -2.67. Yes, I knew it was between -2 and -3. My answer supports that. So I have not made a silly mistake. All right, so Sorry, the video and photo booth ended up screwing up, so now you had a two-part video to watch. But hopefully that is helpful. Make a list of any questions you have and come to my office hours. I will see you soon.